on my end. And, I would say I'd blame Mercury, but I don't think Mercury is doing anything wild right now. So can't blame that. But we do have this glorious full moon in Leo. And we have my dear friend Tara here to talk about it. Tara is an evolutionary astrologer. Tara, I'm going to wait just a few minutes until people start to log on here so we don't have to do the introduction twice. So let's see. I may just update the link here if I can.
I'm just gonna see if I could see the chat. I can't see the live chat right now. Sarah, we lost her again. Hi.
Sorry about that. Hey guys. All right. Sorry.
And I can see the chat now, so that's good.
We had some technical difficulties.
We all have all those worked
out. So for everyone who's joining in, this is Tara, my dear friend Tara. She's an evolutionary astrologer and a beautiful divine feminine. And we're going to talk all about the full moon in Leo. That's literally happening, it's at its height and fullest in 10 minutes or so?
1:26 p.m. Eastern time.
So about 15 minutes from now. We didn't even plan that. That was just kind of haphazard. And also, I meant to do this live on the other channel and screwed up again. So
yeah, Bella Grace, you're right.
We're here.
You're here, not at the astrology place.
Yeah, nope. It's confusing because I have two different accounts on one phone. So, and guys, obviously I'm not tech savvy. So anyone who wants to volunteer to assist me with technology, let me know. Just reach out. We can do a trade. But yeah, we have the full moon and astrology report today. There is a lot to share. So if you guys have questions or get overwhelmed, just let us know in the chat, because whoever is sharing and talking, the other person is going to be moderating the chat. And any of my moderators, you guys are welcome to answer questions as well. You guys are amazing. We're also going to talk briefly about the overview of 2023 astrology. There's too much to share. I mean, that could be like a 12-hour long video, but we're going to share briefly and just kind of like the energetics of this year and the themes of this year. And as well as we're going to go into March a little bit. So we'll share some of the energies of March, but it is this full moon is like, there's two paths and two roads. It's not like multiple paths. It's like, this is it. This is the time where we are going to see some separation from the old self, from the old path, from the old ways, maybe from businesses or partners or friends and things like that. There's a timeline that's opening up that's available that you guys have been hearing me talk about on the videos over the past several days here. So we're going to talk about that, but mostly today we're going to focus on the astrology and how this is affecting us and why this is such a significant full moon. So without further ado, I'll let Tara give her introduction and we'll go from there.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me, Sarah.
Absolutely.
My name is Tara Martello, and I have studied astrology for a good number of years now. And I look at the chart from an evolutionary astrology perspective. I have background in Western astrology as well as this. And I like evolutionary astrology because it really talks about how we're meant as individuals and collectively to evolve and grow. And what's showing up with the planets is showing up in our lives, in our physical reality, to challenge us to make those changes. And so the year of 2023, the theme is transformation. So with transformation comes death and rebirth. And with the start of this year, we've had a bit of a pullback so that we could internally kind of reflect and review and go deeper within ourselves. So we started the year of 2023 with a Mars and Mercury retrograde. And that's really significant because Jupiter moved into Aries, starting a 12-year cycle. And the ruler of Aries is Mars, and Mars was in retrograde at that time. And then the ruler of where Mars was retrograding, Gemini, was Mercury. And Mercury's also in retrograde at this time. So it was really pulling us to our intuitive process, really pulling us within ourselves. And in order to transform at a deep level, we are asked to really root in, really root down within. And now, as an astrologer, I believe that the new year starts in March at the spring equinox when the sun ingresses into Aries. But we do have this collective marker of 2023. So there is this theme of pulling within, union within. And I know that Sarah focuses on the divine feminine, divine masculine energies on this channel. And it is reflected in the astrology that union within. So there's a theme of union within, transformation. And this full moon is bringing us the urge to be free or to break free. And so that is sort of the overarching themes that we're having right now in the energy. So if you want to comment on that, Sarah, or anybody would like to comment if they're feeling that real, like things are just going away, like we're being made to look at what needs to be released, what needs to die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there definitely was a pullback at the beginning of this year where it kind of felt like maybe we were going backwards, and there was sort of a freak out moment. I would say like tower moment, plural. And we felt like, oh my God, I did all of that for nothing. I'm still where I was last year. But we forget, like Tara said, that we're not even actually in the official new year yet. Um, some will say that it starts in Aquarius season, but Tara and I both believe that it begins with Aries. Aries is like first sign, first house energy, I energy, me. So this year is really about us really finding that place of inner union and not worrying about an external person or label or slapping something on anything just so that it makes sense to the egoic part of us. There's a depth to this Leo full moon. Like we're going deep. And this ties back into that Scorpio Taurus energy from the eclipses from last year that's carrying into this year, the North nodes, our collective destiny, you know, where we've come from, where we're going. Like there's so much to talk about. So you might be feeling even a little overwhelmed right now. If you're feeling overwhelmed, it's totally normal. Things are really gearing up and ramping up. This is a year of action. And this is a year, as Tara has said, of, or I don't know if you've introduced this yet, but death and rebirth. And
Yes.
I see it as a year of action. And that makes sense because we're shedding stuff so that we can finally move forward where we were just at a standstill before, where things just felt like it was literally like we were in like a void space through January.
I want to comment on the action. So it's going to feel like this push and this drive for action. Like there's a lot of Aries energy. This Jupiter in Aries, the nodes mid-year in July will move into Aries Libra. The nodes of the moon.
Tara, can you explain what the nodes are? Because some people might not know.
Yeah, so they're not astrological bodies, but they're points on the chart. Like, so we call every planet has nodes. So the nodes that we track most strongly are the nodes of the moon because it moving around the ecliptic. And so those points on either side of the ecliptic are the north and south node. The north node is the future direction. The south node is what we need to release. So they answer questions. So if we're moving in the new direction, like Aries, new beginnings, we might run into problems going into those new beginnings. So what do we have to look at? We have to look at the south node and how we're relating to the world, relating to others, who we're in relationship with, which is Libra. Are we balanced within? And are we attracting balanced relationships outside of ourselves? So this is where we would look for the answer. If we're in the south node energy is the release point, so we always look to that. So right now, this full moon. So with a full moon, we have the sun in Aquarius oppose the moon in Leo, and that is a full moon. The full moon and sun are square Uranus, and Uranus is in the same house and sign as the North Node is in. Okay, so we have this T square, and this is a tense point. So we're going to feel inner conflict, inner distress. There's going to be things coming up, insights, change, sudden change in relationships or situations in our life, in work, maybe. And it's kind of leaving us like, the moon is like where our emotions are. So Leo, it's like, what is the heart of the matter? Where are our emotions, and what are we holding on to emotionally that is not in alignment with our heart's truest desires, right? What we truly want to express. And then that Aquarius energy is expressing authentically. Who are we in the most individuated, authentic, purest state of ourselves? And can we share that into the world, right? To be in service to others. So Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, and it's in Taurus right now, and it's really seeking for us to break free. So we have this urge, this tension to break free, of old patterns, to break free of old um, belief systems, old realities that we've created, and to move forward to something new. So where do we look? The empty house, like, and that's Scorpio. And the South Node happens to be in Scorpio. So collectively, we are releasing that scorpionic energy. And what is that? That is the emotional and psychological attachments that we have that no longer empower us to move forward, to break free in this new beginning. So this Leo new moon, it's like this tension, this pressure internally to break free. And what are we breaking free from? Anything that is holding, that we are attached to, especially emotionally and psychologically, that is disempowering us. So that could be a belief, a person, a job, a living situation, anything that we are emotionally attached to that ultimately disempowers us, that prevents us from being in our true power, that prevents us from moving forward with a sense of agency, with a sense of confidence. So that's what's happening. And this Uranus square to the full moon, as well as the sun, is kind of a review energy, because in 2021 and 2022, Saturn and Uranus squared 6 times. So this is change to our reality. Saturn being our reality, our structures, our systems.
Is
Uranus
that
being
normal, like, to have that many squares in a year between two planets? That
in
seems like
2
kind of
years.
wow.
Well, it's more of a rare transit. Like this Saturn Uranus square is definitely like, Uranus is an outer planet. It moves
Yeah.
slowly. Saturn moves through a sign every 2.5 years.
Mm.
So that was like foundational change. So it's like rumbling under the surface for collectively and as well as individually, depending on what house and what house you had Uranus and Saturn in. So
Right.
there is this tension that existed over the past 2 years of like crumbling our foundation while we're standing on it, you
Like a
know?
tug of war, like wanting to hold on to what was, and that includes
Right.
parts of yourself, like the part of
Yeah.
the self that's dying, but then also like wanting to take that leap of faith to what's new, but having no idea what that is because it's empty and blank. So it's like staring into the great abyss and going, I know I need to take that leap, but I have no idea what's on the other side of this pain, this suffering, this fear that we're so used to being in. Anybody who's been on a twin flame journey knows pain, like devastation, pain, heartache, disappointment. I mean, like, you probably, if you're truly on the twin flame journey, you've been suicidal at some point. You've wanted to not be here. You've wanted to take an exit from this planet. I've talked about this freely and openly because I think it's very important that we don't sugarcoat this and romanticize this. That's bullshit. This is not, this journey is hard, and it pushes you to the very depths of your soul, of your being. Why am I here? Who am I? What is this all for? And I think that speaks to the Plutarian energy, that is kind of circulating around this year as well. And what are we really here for? And this Leo full moon is shining a light on, okay, what do you want to be remembered for? Like, who are you at your core? The truth, the authentic you, not the you that's been through this or done that or has this title or this amount of money in the bank, but the true you. And how do you bring that forth into the world?
I have so much, I have so much astrology to say based on what you just said, but I just want to, while I was speaking, I caught a couple comments. I just want to comment on. So my information will put below, like how you could find me and my info, because people are asking. The other thing was someone mentioned the third chakra, our personal will center. And so this self agency, this Aries energy is really presenting strongly throughout this year. So we are going through solar and sacral chakra purges at this time. So that is happening. I wanted to say, based on what you were commenting on, first, the foundational change that is taking place with Saturn and Uranus the past 2 years, squaring, it's being highlighted with this full moon. So we're kind of being challenged of how did you change? What have you let go of? And what are your true values now? And what are your passions? What is your heart's desires? What direction do you want to take at this point? So we're having that kind of tension point, this pull to release. And then we talked about the twin flame path. And so I have been on this twin flame path as well. This is how I got into astrology. It has been a very long time on this journey, 7 years. And I want to say that my experience, the wisdom that I've gained from my experience is this is about union codes, bringing in union into this reality. And so whoever presents is the mirror for you at that moment in time. But it doesn't, we are.
Trigger warning.
Yes. Trigger warning. We are expansive beings, and there are infinite possibilities that exist in outside of the human mind's ability to comprehend. And so what is being really pushed right now with the astrology, because we've started a new 7-year cycle, and I'll get into that in a minute, with union of the divine masculine and divine feminine energies, it is inner union, because it's in Aries. So Jupiter represents the divine masculine energy. The mythology is Zeus, and the counterpart of Zeus is Hera, or Juno in astrology. She is the partner, the consort, the marriage partner of Zeus. So Jupiter and Juno conjunct every 7 or so years. And they conjuncted on January 23rd, 2023 at 4 degrees of Aries. So we really have this Aries energy. And Aries energy is about self-agency. This is about your sense of self. So wherever Aries falls in your chart, whatever house it falls in, it will be in service to that inner union of self. Unless it's in the 7th house, the 5th house, the 8th house, where you would be with
other people.
Right.
Let's talk for a second about self-agency. I just want to pause you because some people might not really understand what that means, especially on this journey where we've been misguided and misdirected to believe that it's about a physical person. So let's talk about the agency of self, and how do we even get to that point when we've been taught to seek happiness and joy and fulfillment and abundance outside of self our entire lives, basically.
Well, that's the conditioning, and that's where Uranus is like, we're breaking free of this conditioning. So like, I'm always going to speak in terms of astrology with a little like, and I will add in wisdom from my own experience, but self-agency, which is Aries energies, Mars energy, this is self-generated actions, confident actions, advocating for yourself, emotional and physical balance within yourself, and a sense of personal power. So Aries energy is about personal power. Scorpio energy, which is really highlighted with the South Node there, and also Pluto making movement this year, is about empowerment. So empowerment in the world
so we have Mars, the Mars energy with Aries, and the Mars energy coming in with Scorpio, because they're both ruled by Mars. So this is a lot of Mars, Mars does not allow things to go backwards. Mars will push everything forwards. Everything's going to come out into the open. So we might as well roll with the punches, because if you like hesitate, or if you're like, it's going to be like tower moment after tower moment, eclipse after eclipse, because the universe, I feel like, will remove things from your path that just aren't aligned.
Sometimes, we have free will and free choice. So this is a lot of 2023 is about choice energy. It's about crossroads energy. It's like, okay, which direction do you want to go? If you haven't learned the cycle yet or learned the lessons yet, then you will repeat some of the cycles or stay in these attachment or disempowered states. This is not wrong. There's no judgment in that. We
Right.
all have our own journey. We all have our own path, our own karma, our own lessons, our own way to get there. We're all trying to get to the same place, and we're all trying to get into union and bring that into the physical world. And union is with the consciousness itself. So the twin energy, this is a trigger warning. This is the consciousness. It is the energy. It
It's not
is
a
that.
person. Like it is not, and that's so hard to
It's
wrap your mouth around your
representative
mind.
in a person, right? So we expect as a human that person will travel with us because
Right.
they had that consciousness in them. I had that consciousness in me. We sparked it within each other, we triggered it, and
Right.
then we go through a purging process and a learning and a lessons and a like getting rid of everything that doesn't match that beautiful divine love energy that we are here to bring into this earth, to this planet where it doesn't really exist.
Right.
So we bring that no matter what that person chooses. So if they don't choose the path, it doesn't leave us a prisoner. We are free. We are always free. We are always sovereign. Leo energy is about sovereignty, and Aries energy is about freedom, and Aquarius energy is about freedom. So we are in this state of we could decide to continue to be free and to hold that space, that energy within ourselves.
And this
And
goes
it will
against
show.
what so many people are saying. This is like when I introduced this a couple months back, I got a lot of backlash and even some hate mail, and nobody, I shouldn't say nobody, but many people weren't ready to hear this. But the truth is we're not trapped in this twin flame journey. We're not trapped or
Right.
imprisoned to this one person out of 8 billion people. Another person can come in and embody or inhabit that energy within themselves in another physical vessel in another body. So if you can let go of the person, the physical body, but you're connected to the energy, then you're allowing it to show up in a different form, in a different way, in a different person,
In a
and
different timeline.
in a different timeline,
Right.
right? Where it's instead of the kind of disfigured, like disembodied masculine energy, you will have the divine masculine energy showing up, which is what
Yeah.
was mirrored to you at one point. That was mirrored to you with this person. That's why you came together. But then things sort of fell apart, and you took different timelines. And
Right.
that's what's happened to the majority of people.
So someone commented that twin flame journey is about releasing duality. Absolutely. And this is this
Yeah.
inner union within self, right? So you are coming into all of the aspects of self. The masculine and the feminine principle are joining. The spirit and the matter are joining as one. So you're bringing that consciousness into your body, and you becoming in union with that consciousness, that divinity, that energy, that love, and that will be reflected outside in whatever form. So this is not to say that you shouldn't be with your twin or whatever. Like, this is not to say any of that. It's just to say that our purpose, especially with this 7-year cycle that has just started, is to come in to focus within. Where do I need to unite within myself? So if you have Aries in the first house, that union is going to be about your sense of self, your sense of self agency, your sense of personal power, your sense of moving forward with confidence in a direction that you don't know the outcome, but you're moving in accordance with that intuition, that instinctual action. Okay, that's first house energy. Second house energy is about self-reliance and physical security. So if you have Aries in the second house, you're moving into union through a sense of developing physical security in your environment, the feeling of safety, and whatever that means for you, having money, having a home, having physical material possessions, and being self-reliant within yourself. If you have it in the third house, you're developing inner union with curiosity, with information, with different perspectives, with many different perspectives. And you could hold all of them like without being attached, right? That Gemini energy, it's like I could hold all the perspectives, but this is, in the end, this is my perspective and this is who I resonate with. And that's where you get that Libra energy, that other air sign. It's like Gemini gathers the information without detachment. It's just with curiosity.
Gemini's kind of like a squirrel. Like I've always seen them like the squirrel energy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna,
Yeah.
harbor it and then use it when I most need it. Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And so someone asked how you find Aries in your chart, and you look at your birth chart, not your transit chart. So look at your birth chart, and it's based on the time you were born. So you need the exact time of birth, and that sets up your rising sign, which sets up your house system. And so you'll want to see where 4 degrees of Aries lands in your chart.
So your rising is your first house. A lot of people think it's the sun, but it's actually your rising sign. So that's why astrologers like us say, "Oh, look at your rising sign and not your sun sign," because a lot of times the sun sign won't necessarily resonate, or maybe aspects of it will, but then the rising sign resonates. So the rising sign, and then from there you can find all your other houses. But there's a lot more to it than that, also. And there's just so much going on with. There's just so much interaction and conversations that the planets are having over the next few months. Um, you know, like just the fact that we have eclipses in Aries and Scorpio this year, like combined into one year, it's like whatever didn't get blown out last year or eclipsed out will definitely get eclipsed out this year. So let's like, for me, like the message is let's cooperate with that energy and let's help move it along rather than being in resistance.
Well, I mean, cooperate with the energy it's funny. It's like,
I mean,
there's no cooperating with the energy. The energy is there to support you, and you have the choice to use that support or not.
I guess that's what I mean by
Yeah,
cooperate. Like,
right.
instead of being in resistance.
Hello.
Hey, Christine. Yeah, because it's like, but with eclipses, people are like, I'm gonna dig my heels in, and I'm not gonna like this isn't gonna happen to me, and it's like okay, and then then you can go through hell. You can feel like you've been dragged through hell and run over by a semi truck. Um, Jill, you asked something about your eighth house. You have Aries in your eighth house. So Aries in the eighth house, that scorpionic energy. The eighth house is like the death and rebirth energy, the phoenix rising, other people's money, investments. It's like an energy that is kind of all consuming. And
Yeah, and so if you have the union energy in that house, you're coming into union with your deep emotional, psychological attachments and kind of where they disempower you and where you could let them go. So
and
it's
Jill,
really, yeah.
that makes sense because I saw your comments. Jill's been one of my clients for a long time. Jill's, it's like you said, you're letting go of the person who you identify as a divine masculine. That would make a lot of sense. You're letting go of that ideal, or you're letting go of that physical vessel, but then you get to pull that energy, that masculine energy that we've been putting out there, that we've been expecting in return, and you pull it back into yourself, and suddenly you're both. There's another a DM on the channel, Chris, and Chris talks about, you guys have probably heard from Chris, and they talk about um, like thinking that there was a divine feminine physical form and having the realization that, oh my God, it's within me. Like just this amazing epiphany. I need to, Chris, if you're watching, I haven't forgotten to email you back. I got your emails. I was blown away. Like, congratulations on reaching that point, because oftentimes we have to go through the physical to even get to that point. But Chris, it was like, no, I got this. Like, I
Yeah.
understand this. And such joy and such relief and such freedom and peace found in knowing that you contain that within yourself. So then that sense of loneliness or dependency, codependency, abandonment, rejection, we're healing all of like those timelines are being healed. They're being eclipsed out as we accept ourselves, being able to give ourselves what we need and what we want and what we desire.
And I want to say, like, back to this full moon. This full moon is an opportunity for quantum leaps, and so you will have sudden insights, and those sudden insights, that Uranian energy, that great awakener, we call Uranus, the great awakener, is you take quantum leaps, you get this light bulb moment, these sudden insights, or sudden change happens in your life, and you're like, whoa. So it could feel a little traumatic in some cases, or it could feel extremely liberating. But ultimately, Uranian energy wants to liberate you, wants to free you from what is holding you back. And Uranus and Taurus is about our sense of love for ourselves, our sense of value. We are enough. Should value ourselves, to treasure ourselves, to like, we're these beautiful beings that came into this world to do great things, to actualize our desires, our heart's desires, that Leo energy, and authentically express them into the world, that Aquarius energy. So this is beautiful energy. This is a powerful full moon.
Mm-hmm. Can you
And
guys feel it? Can we just get like hands? Because I mean, Tara and I, we like reached the same conclusion at the same fucking time. What, yesterday, the day before? I mean, we were just like, I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad that someone else is feeling this way. And then I took a little leap of faith, or a big leap of faith, and started talking about it. And you guys are resonating with this. Whereas months before, it wasn't resonating, and that's okay. It just wasn't time. And I also realized that I wasn't in a great place to be sharing information at the time, because I still had a lot of anger and resentment that I was working through. And it's easy to be blind to that and think, oh no, have healed that, that's gone. But what was actually happening was, for me, the realization that there was a shift within the physical connection. And then when that came to fruition and I learned what happened, I was like, oh my God. So it all made sense. And Tara had something we're not even going to share because the details aren't important, but you had something very similar happen. And all of a sudden it's like this revelation, this Uranian energy of, oh my God, that's why the sudden insights, epiphanies, and revelations, that's why it happened. But now we have this opportunity to be freed from where we thought we were restricted or imprisoned, whether that's your mind, your thoughts, a person
your
that you found
beliefs,
to,
yeah.
definitely your
Anything.
beliefs.
Yeah.
That's big.
Well, I mean, it also depends on where it lands in your chart. So Aquarius energy, so the sun is in my 12th house. And so that's really about culminations and endings, and really surrendering to some higher faith and trust. So like leaping into an unknown space. And the sun is in my 6th, and it's like, how healing, like how do I, and this full moon is very healing for all of us, because Chiron is aspecting the moon in a trine, and also aspecting the sun in a sextile. So it's supporting us to heal deep layers within ourselves. Do we want to identify with the woundedness or the wisdom that we gain from the wounds? And so these are the questions that are coming forth.
Wait, say that again, because that was really important.
So there's this healing component to this full moon, and it's like, from our woundedness we gain wisdom, right? And so do we choose to stay in that woundedness energy, to stay in that victim energy, to stay in that disempowered state, or are we going to garner the wisdom from that, the medicine? Are we choosing our woundedness, or are we choosing the wisdom or the medicine to move forward with? So this is a profoundly healing moment.
Like that elixir that we think is found in someone else, the elixir of truth, the elixir of, the clarity, the focus, the intention of your journey.
Right. And with Chiron in Aries, we are healing our sense of agency. We're healing our sense of self. So our sense of confidence and our sense of personal power collectively, right? So you may not have Aries and Chiron in your chart, but collectively we're all healing that woundedness around our sense of personal power, and that we have personal power, that we can move forward in a
We
new
can make
direction.
choices that say, I
Yes.
don't want to be stuck in this lower timeline. Like there's a quote, and I can't remember who said it. It might have been Ram Dass. It might have been somebody else, but it's basically like, I now choose a higher timeline that doesn't involve learning through pain. Like, haven't we had enough of learning through pain? And it's so easy to play the victim card and not even realizing you're playing the victim card. We've all done it. I've done it. And so we get this choice. It's an opportunity. That's kind of the fork in the road. Do you want to continue to learn through pain? And maybe you still need to learn through pain, and that's okay. Zero judgment. Or do you choose to learn through other avenues, other opportunities, other mechanisms? It's a choice right now. And I think we need to be honest with ourselves that it is a choice. We are not bound to suffer. Like, we did not
Oh
come
yeah.
here to live our entire lives and suffer. That is not, especially if you incarnated now, that is not why we're here. Now, is pain part of the human experience? Absolutely. Is heartbreak part of that? Is loss part of that? Yes. But we didn't come here to live that way for the rest of our lives. And I think that's kind of been pushed on us. It's like that's either pushed on you or it's love and light and let's ignore everything and spiritually bypass everything. But there's actually a middle ground, right?
Yeah.
So we're getting to access that middle ground where we get both. You can have both. And I think we do ourselves an injustice when someone says, "How are you?" and you're like, "I'm fine." But you're not fine. So talk about what's actually bothering you. And then you give that person permission to actually speak about what they're going through. Or if you're having a great day, on the other hand, don't be afraid to share that just because someone else isn't. Like, we need to be more authentic and honest with how we communicate with each other.
I wrote down honor our vulnerability.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like as I look at the chart, I like just write down like phrases and words of things that are the energetic overview, like the themes. And this is really about honoring our own vulnerability, especially with these aspects to Chiron. And don't change yourself. Show up for you how you
Mhm.
are. And
Mhm.
I do feel like, with the Leo energy, where are we not allowing ourselves to feel joy and pleasure and play and like love and just romance with life, right? With
Yeah.
everything in life. So what is holding us back from that? And where is our woundedness holding us back? The stories that we tell ourselves. And can we allow ourselves and honor ourselves in our vulnerability if we're moving through sadness and grief and anger and all of those things, because it's all part of our human condition. I want to share
Yeah.
a little story. So I had Thanksgiving at a friend's house, and their 10-year-old daughter is such a light. She's so beautiful. And so we were going around the table saying what we were thankful for. And she said, "I'm thankful that I could feel sad, that I could feel happy, that I
Mhm.
could feel anxious, that I could feel nervous, that I could feel angry." And all the emotions. She's like, "I'm just so thankful that I could feel all of that." And I just was like, this child is brilliant. Like, she is speaking about the human experience, and that's what we're here for. It's so
Yeah.
amazing. And so that Leo energy is like, can you fully express? And where are you not honoring? Where
Mhm.
you are vulnerable? Where are you wounded? Because once you honor it, once you sit with it,
Mhm.
you could gain the wisdom from that place.
There's so much wisdom in pain, but we also don't need to stay there any longer than we need to. Like, you know what
Right.
I mean? Like, we need to stay there as long as we need to, and then we need to be able to pull ourselves up and ascend. And by the way, like, ascension is overused. We like I'm ascending, or it, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have bad days or be in a bad mood or like flick someone off in the car. I still do that, right? I can be spiritual and go teach a yoga class and be like, "Yeah, f you, buddy." We can have all of that. We can be all of that. We're spiritual beings, but we're having this human experience. Let's own it. Let's be real. Let's be who we are, and without feeling like we have to apologize. Like, someone cries and we go, "Oh, I'm sorry." Why are you apologizing for expressing an authentic emotion? We don't apologize when we're angry, but for some reason when we're sad, we're like, I mean, you see it all the time. Watch an interview or watch a loved one when they're crying. "Oh, I'm sorry." No, let's stop apologizing for authentic emotion, because we're so scared that we're going to offend somebody or trigger somebody and that they're not going to know how to show up for us. But if they don't know how to show up for us, that's fine. We can show up for ourselves in that moment. Like, we can show up and just be like,
Well, it's part of our conditioning, and that's that Uranian energy really revealing to us where have we been conditioned and where can we let that go so that we could be free. And when we talk about Leo energy, we're talking about the inner child. And if you've ever been around toddlers, they fully express all their
mhm,
emotions, but they also move on. Like in
right.
one minute, be it a massive
Disaster. The end of the world.
anger and sadness, and then
You
5
don't love
seconds
me
later,
anymore. You never loved me. And then like 2 minutes later, they're like singing and playing piano, and you're like,
so to be fully expressed,
yeah.
there's a lot of opening and closing of cycles this year. So Pluto is first of all, during this full moon period, it's at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So this is really like an ending of massive cycles. Like this Capricorn energy structures our how we structure our entire reality, government systems, financial systems, medical systems, all the systems that we
So there's
structure our reality.
there's
All this
30
hierarchical
degrees in an
system.
angle. Just for anyone who's like, what does that mean? There's
Yeah,
30 degrees. So that's at the tail end of Cap. That's
we're
like
at
the
the
tail
tail
end
end.
of the degrees.
And so we're going to move in this tail end of Capricorn for the next couple years, 2 years, right? So Pluto moves very slow. It's a 12 to 25-year transit. So we have been in Capricorn since 2008, and we've had some massive, major Plutonian energy since the beginning of 2020, when Pluto joined Saturn at 22 degrees in the January of 2020, and we've just been like in massive transformation. And this last 10 degrees of a sign is most powerful, and so we're culminating this energy. And so because of this 29 degrees of Capricorn, and Capricorn's a cardinal sign, when the nodes move into Aries and Libra, it moves in at 29 degrees because it goes backwards around the chart. So we move from Taurus North Node to Aries North Node. And so Pluto in March is going to be moving to 0 degrees of Aquarius. And I think to 1. I think it'll get to 1 before it retrogrades. And it will be at that mark when Taurus and Scorpio nodes, remember, these are the collective directions, are in their 1 to 0 degree mark. So we will have Pluto square the nodes for most of this year, from late spring until the end of the year. And this is really significant. This is this crossroads energy. So in this moon, we're in this crossroads energy with Uranus, which is the great awakener, sudden shifts, sudden change. Have you changed? Where is your emotional security? Where is the moon? Emotions. Is it in the passions that you have? Is it in the love? Is it in the pleasure? Or is it stuck in something else? And the sun is it, are you shining your light authentically into the world, or is this emotional attachments holding you back? These emotional attachments holding you back because we get so attached emotionally. Our attachments, what Scorpio shows us is that eventually our attachments disempower us. We are meant to experience many, many things. So we get intimate, we attach, we join forces, we exchange energy in Scorpio, right? Sex, money, businesses, intimacy of all kinds. We go deep, right? It's emotional, it's psychological. And it's empowering at first, but ultimately we're meant to experience what we need to experience and move on, to constantly be empowered, to constantly be in a place of evolution. It's an evolutionary placement.
But Scorpio tends to cling. Scorpio likes to hold on and to cling.
That's the shadow, right?
Right.
So what are we clinging to? What
Right.
are we clinging to that is holding us back from our heart, our passions, our authenticity,
And
our
get really honest
self-love
with
and
yourself.
worthiness, right?
Like if you guys have a piece of paper handy, get really honest. Do this now. This is a great opportunity at the full moon to ask yourself, where am I disempowering myself? What am I holding on to? Is it a person? Like be really honest. Is this person serving me? This belief serving me? This job serving me? The way that I make money serving me? How I'm showing up in the world serving me? Like, is this serving me or not? And be really honest with yourself, because it's so easy for us to self-deceive because it's the shadow. We can't see it. Other people can see it and identify it, but when you're in the shadow, you can't see it. So this full moon is shining a light on all those cracks and crevices and places within ourselves where we're ready to release, we're ready to let go. We really are. Like, you're more ready than you realize to let go of whatever that thing or person is. So can you trust the path and where it's leading you, and that it's going to be different from where you've been? It's going to look very different. It's a very different landscape. Like, over the next coming several years, the world is going to look like a very different place, and we are going to be
It is.
very different.
I want to comment what you're saying about what came to mind in this exercise that you're kind of putting out to the group is what is reflecting our sense of worthiness. So is the external world, are the things that we're attached to, are the things that we're intimate with, are the things that we're emotional about, are those things that reflect our true worth and value? Or are they things that ultimately don't? So, but with this North Node in Taurus, with Uranus in Taurus, it's about we are innately worthy. We are always enough. And we need this sense of self love. And honestly, you brought up the twin flame journey. It's about loving ourselves first, like
Mhm.
truly and completely loving ourselves as a God divine being in this world to share and express our heart and our authenticity, because that is our codes. That's our gifts to the world, is to truly authentically express. And we can only do that if we feel free and if we are really innately loving ourselves, because that's going to be the sense of moving forward with confidence. That's where we're going to garner our personal power. So with the North Node in Taurus and the Uranus in Taurus, it's about our sense of worth, our sense, and that building that sense of safety and security within ourself first. Because when we move into Aries North Node, it's going to be about taking action, moving forward in our personal power, and stepping into the unknown. It's like, so
I think a lot of people don't necessarily, in the world, like in general, this is a general statement, don't know what self-worth is. We're not taught it in school.
no.
We're not typically taught it by our parents. And if you are, like, congratulations to them. They've done their work. But because we're the generation, we're the chosen ones who are healing generational trauma and wounds, we are the ones who are like, oh, we arrive at that juncture first, right? We're arriving at it together as a collective, but we're the first in the family line, the generational line. So I think a lot of people just don't even know, because we've been taught to access it from outside of ourselves. Power is self-worth, right? According to society. A romantic relationship, having, getting married, having kids, or doing whatever, having the business, having the boat, having the house, having the car, the fancy clothes, the titles, all this bullshit that in the long run, we don't take any of that stuff with us. Like, that's not, the soul did not come here to thrive on money and power and status.
Well, we've externalized our value, and that's Venus. And so Taurus was ruled by Venus. And let's talk about what Venus is doing in this full moon. She is squaring Mars. So she's in Pisces and she's squaring Mars in Gemini. And so this is a very powerful energy, because Venus in Pisces is about endings, it's about culmination, it's about ultimate surrender and ultimate universal love, right? So we are ending a cycle, and what this tension point between Mars and Venus, this conversation is telling us is, can you have a different perspective? Can you be really curious about what's presenting and in your life, and take a different action forward that's more in line to these new values that you've kind of developed over time, or this new sense of worthiness, because the old cycle's ending. Venus has gone through a powerful transformation in 2022 with her retrograde. Right at the end of 2021, she joined Pluto. And then right at the end of 2022, before we started this new year, she joined Pluto again. So we've gone through massive transformation of our values, our worth, and like what we want in this life. And can we take action in that way, in a new way, with a different perspective and a new set of values?
Yeah.
Or are we going to be in this
Mm.
tension? There's so much tension and kind of inner conflict. And you said like, are you going to, I forget, like, are you going to take advantage of this energy or like repeat the same cycles again and again? Isn't that what insanity is called? Like doing the same
Yeah.
thing over and over.
Yeah. And it's like, but when you're going through it, it feels maybe sometimes like the only option, or it feels not good, but comfortable. Because
Yeah.
it's like, well, that's what I've always done. That's what I've watched my parents do, or that's what I've watched society do. But yeah, we're at a crossroads in so many ways, not even just one aspect. It's not like it's just the relationship aspect. It's just the career aspect. It's the whole thing. And I think this is presenting like I feel like a lot of 2022, and especially like June 2022 through January of this year, were like a big question mark. Like people are like, I don't know who the fuck I am, what the fuck I'm doing, what this is, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And I think I don't know is a
Well,
very
that
good
foundation
answer.
was crumbling. It was like
Right.
right beneath our feet. So we were kind of like, what are we doing?
And it was like, how were you able to ride the rocky waters? Were you able to, tsunami was coming, a hurricane, a tornado, an earthquake, all in one? Were you able to stay surrendered to what was happening? Because if you were, then you should be arriving at a place now of calmer seas and clarity and focus, and some of that brain fog should be dissipating, and some of the physical ascension symptoms should be alleviating a little bit. I'm not saying we're not going to have them, we will, but we have the body, the physical body, the vessel has adjusted so much in the past few years, like we've brought in so many light codes that it should be getting easier and easier. And even if you go through the ascension physical like symptoms and sensations, it should be shorter durations, and we should be able to assimilate and integrate at a much more rapid pace than before, because we're ascending fast. So it's kind of like the visual that I've been shown is like the counterpart, whoever you identify as the counterpart, is like they're holding your leg or your ankle, and you're like, I'm ascending. And they're like, no, but just come down here for a little bit and sit in the darkness. I'm like, I need help. And it's like that choice of, am I just gonna like just forget it, fine, I'll go back down, try one more time, or are you gonna choose to like shake them off and just move forward and ascend? And it's like you're climbing a ladder. I've always seen ascension like the ladder of ascension, and the choice is there. And it's not right or wrong, it's just a choice, it's a fork in the road. And I think many people are going to be choosing to move forward and to move up, whatever that means for you. Tara, I have a question, because I was trying to access the live chat, but I can't access it. Are you able to?
Either no, it just pops up, so I can't
Weird.
see. So I did see that Serena asked about a 9 degrees of Aries Chiron, and yeah, that's close enough. It's so you've just gone through our Chiron return, so there's a definite need to kind of reflect on the wounds and honor the vulnerability of that and go deeper into the layers to get the wisdom and the medicine that come from our woundedness, from our wounds. And so I mean, it's a vulnerable place to be. And this moon is hitting that, the sun is hitting that. So yeah, if you do have Chiron in Aries, your woundedness, your wisdom will be on how do I move forward in my personal power. So I wanted to just say that real quick, but I did see that. Otherwise, I can't access the whole the
Can
whole
somebody,
chat.
so yeah, it's like nothing's moving for me. So can someone post a comment real quick? Because I think it's like disabled. So if you guys are posting, I can't see anything for some reason. So if someone could just post and let me know if you can see it. You can just say hi. You don't have to. It's really strange.
Yeah, I'm not getting it either.
Huh. Weird. Like, because if you look on, there's like at the top right corner, there's like a square little thingy. And if you click on
Oh,
that, it'll show you.
someone wrote hello. So I'm
Yeah,
seeing it.
I'm not getting any of that. So I'm sorry guys. I'm not seeing any of that right now. And I was trying to access it a few minutes ago on my computer, but it won't let me because it's alive. Right corner.
Okay, I can see the chat now.
Yeah, I don't know. I just click on it and nothing happens. So technical difficulties. Honestly, it's probably my Wi-Fi connection. It's very weak, but I will be moving homes soon, so hopefully that'll be fixed. Um,
Yes, still, you help your person by ascending and moving forward. Yeah, I mean, the only thing we have control of is ourselves. And so, what is this energy bringing to the table for the work that we have to do within ourselves? And so,
mhm.
as far as union of the masculine feminine energies, it's about union within self. With this new full moon energy, it's about really digging into what your passions are and your heart's desires and what's kind of emotionally and psychologically you're attached to that's holding you back. And then where can you free yourself and could you allow for that quantum leap to happen? This whole year is about endings and beginnings. So we are going to have this desire to move forward, and then it's going to be like, wait, what do we have to let go of that we're attached to still? That's of the old, and then to move forward. So
Yeah.
there's this back and forth that's happening.
So I think for anyone in that place, because again, I can't see the chat. I'm sorry, guys, but for anyone who's wondering, like, am I, because this is a question that I've gotten asked a lot, am I like disrespecting the connection or this person, or am I like, do I owe them like this? You don't. And honestly, it's hard to kind of fully grasp this until you like live it and go through it. Um, but that union that we're talking about is really and truly within. It's really and truly within self. Everything else is an illusion. So like the person embodying the energy is really like, okay, if you look at this as like your energy, it's your energy being embodied in another person. So that's one way to look at it. But there is no like that person who's showing up. I'm trying to like explain this and it's hard to explain. It's like it's something that just kind of clicks at some point on the journey and you're like, "Oh, okay, I completely understand." Um just focus on self. Like that's the most simplistic way of saying it. Just focus on self and focus on your self-worth and your self-love and your self-respect and your identity and what it is that you want out of life. And that, again, if you've been brought down into those lower timelines like Tara and I have over and over again, you eventually reach a point where you're like, no more. I cannot do this anymore. This is not sustainable. It will become unsustainable to your vessel, to your being, to your body, to your health. And when it gets that extreme, you will make a change. Like you will be ready for that shift. You will be so ready and you will just catapult yourself and quantum leap into a different timeline. And in that timeline, it's just you. It's just you existing with you. So it's you meeting yourself. It's you having a conversation with yourself. It's you loving yourself. It's you accepting yourself. And this energy, this full moon energy, it's so supportive of that. It's like like it's like a warm blanket embracing us and wrapping us in this self-love. How deeply can you love yourself? How deeply can you comfort yourself? How deeply can you show up for yourself? Forget about how other people are showing up to you, like for you today. Just forget about that. How are you showing up for yourself? In what ways have you been denying yourself what you need? And someone said this once to me. Well, there's two things she said to me. She said, other people's actions have nothing to in choices have nothing to do with you. And like at the point I was like 28, my jaw dropped. I was like, what do you mean? Other people's actions have nothing to do with you. And that was like, wow, talk about agency, like self agency right there. Okay, I'm taking responsibility then. And that's carried through me for like, years and years. And then the other thing is that totally forgot about the second thing. It'll come. But that first one was really important because we tend to think that other people's actions are a direct reflection of ourselves or our self-worth, and they're just not. So if someone's not choosing us or we don't get chosen for a job, we feel like rejected. We're not being rejected. That's just like that's a way that we're choosing to look at it. So how like I think that's a good theme also for this woman. And how are you choosing to look at quote unquote rejection? It's an opportunity to redirect your responses to life and how other people are showing up or how life is showing up to you. So my chat is back on magically. I'm trying to see the body as an avatar or a vessel. Yeah. So my suggestion there is stop trying more like because trying means the mind is trying to understand it and the mind can't really grasp what's happening here. It's deeper than that. So instead, focus on again yourself and focus on just the surrender. Just surrender, whether it's whatever higher power is to you, surrender to that, whether it's God, the universe, whatever. Surrender to that because the trying will drive you crazy. You will try to understand this journey and it's not going to make sense. You'll try to explain it to someone who's not on it, it's not going to make sense. You know, you'll feel crazy. You'll get cold crazy. So, yeah. Or you'll get told, "Oh, you just move on." And you're like, "Well, I wish it was that easy." But now we're arriving at this place, this juncture in space and time where we're like, "Wait a second. Not that it's that easy, but it is a choice and it's available. It's available." But like Tara and I were talking about earlier today, the energy wasn't aligning right before. It wasn't properly aligning. So even though we were trying to like force the like disconnection or trying to force the release or the freedom, it wasn't happening because the energies weren't supportive of it. The energies are now supportive of the release, the energetic release.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael. Michael from Nottingham, UK. Hello. Yeah, Lynn, a lot of people are spending a lot of time alone, like getting really comfortable with being isolated and alone, but not equating that with loneliness, you know?
Yeah.
So, do you guys have any questions for us? Because we've covered a lot in this
There was
hour.
a lot covered, yes.
There's so much more to share, but for the sake of this live, we'll probably leave it there. But does anyone have any questions? Comments? Michael, I am fantastic. How are you? Happy full moon. Happy full moon, guys.
Yeah.
Enjoy. You know, if you have crystals or anything you want to place out, and I haven't done that in months, but I'm going to place them outside. Place them outside. Do some moon gazing, or they call it moon bathing. Just absorb the energy of the moon. If you're near the water or the ocean, get out there, or the mountains, get outside tonight. Be in that energy, embody that. And just go ahead.
I was just going to say there's going to be a lot of opportunity for these endings and beginnings and these leaps and the support this year for that to kind of release what we're attached to.
Yeah.
So if you're not ready, that's a completely fine. You're not losing an opportunity. There will be others. I mean, because
You're not missing out.
No, the entire year is about bringing us back to like, if we want to start this new way of being or this new beginning, what do we need to release? So even the new moon in Pisces that's coming up on February 20th will be it's a new moon, which is new beginnings, but it's going to be about endings as well. So we have a lot happening here for that.
We do.
Thank you so much, Lynn.
Yeah, thank you. Lynn's been one of my moderators for years. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you to all of my incredible moderators. You guys have been amazing. Whether you're a new moderator or have been a moderator for a long time, you guys have really helped the channel stay, you just supported other people, even when you were going through your own process. So I couldn't have done it without my moderators and their time that they freely gave. So I think we have one question. One question. Equalitarian biologists, you have one Q. What's your question? Johanna, you're welcome. You're so very welcome.
Thank you for being vulnerable, Serena, and sharing. Sending you a lot of love.
Serena's amazing. Oh, you're good, Serena. You're good. You got this, dear.
Okay, so you have no planets in Aries. That's fine. What house is Aries in? Because the energy will be activated in your chart by these transiting planets anyway. And since you do have planets in your first house, you'll have that Aries energy in your life. Like you're meant to take a sense of agency and personal power. And so those planets are supporting that for you, whatever sign that's in.
Hey, Christina, we got a newbie. Welcome in.
Welcome.
Hi, you caught a live. So we're actually at the tail end of the live here, but there's a replay that should probably take a few minutes to process. It'll show up. We're talking all about the full moon and about the overview and energies of 2023. Equalitarian biologist. I actually have, I've done the Aries over on my other channel, Energetic Rebel Astrology, which if you look in any of my videos, you'll see links to that. Like check on the video I posted this morning and you can go over there, and I've done an Aries, like for January through April, I've done an Aries forecast, and then I have an extended on my Patreon. And for all the other signs, I will get to you. I have not forgotten. I started with Aries, but I'm going to go through all of the signs. So, and there's so much to say that I'll probably do a few more of those through the year. But Aries, it's a fantastic year for Aries. It's a phenomenal opportunity for self-expansion and growth on so many levels.
Someone asked about what we should be releasing and what is not in tune with your hearts. That's what we should be releasing. And also like whatever wounding you have to sit in that vulnerability. And if there is an opportunity to garner wisdom from the wound, that's what should be revealed to you in this full moon. And where are you holding yourself back from love and joy and pleasure and happiness? Because that's what Leo is about, right? So where are you holding yourself back from that? Or what is holding yourself back from that? And that's where you should be releasing. And so, yeah, and like whatever's preventing you from taking agency, to confidently moving forward, to feeling in your personal power. So there's a lot of things you could be releasing, but those are sort of where to kind of guide you, like what's holding you back from joy, what's holding you back from your heart's desires, that kind of stuff. Do you have anything to add, Sarah?
Just that for anybody who has sort of held themselves back from romance, right? Like waiting or like hoping and wishing that for the return of a human, another person. Don't. Like your sacral chakra is starting to activate now. I talked about that on the videos yesterday. Like the sacral chakra, like you might experience cramping or weird sensations or bloating or gas or something, but we're starting to release like those strands that connected us to that person or people plural, so that we're being released so that we can accept in the true divine partner and the true divine partnership, but also like experiencing pleasure again. The sacral chakra is about creativity. It's about birthing something. It's about pleasure. So where is it that we were denying ourselves pleasure? Like I can look back and say, I definitely was denying myself pleasure, denying myself intimacy with another. And we're not going to be doing that anymore. So you'll find that whichever sex you're attracted to, like that, they're going to start being like, whoa, look at him. Like, look at them, look at him, look at her. Like they're going to start to notice you again, but it's because you're in your agency. It's because like you're confident. It's because your heart is opening. It's because you are releasing, you're opening, you're leaving behind, like wherever you've left soul fragments behind in a relationship or with another person, you're like, here, you can have those. You're reclaiming those and taking those back, and people are going to notice. So expect people to pursue you again. And like just in time, I don't really like celebrate Valentine's Day, but it's one of my brother's birthdays. So it's special in that way. But yeah, just in time for like the day of love. Like love yourself. Take yourself on that date. Like really love and adore yourself. And other people are going to notice.
Yes. There's a lot releasing in the lower chakras
Mhm.
right now.
Yeah.
Someone asked if should I stay or should I go? And I mean, I would tune into the lower chakras. Like the sacral is where you will get your answers. Like, and maybe start with asking what does your human really need? What does your energy really need? What are you really needing in this moment? Do you need a sense of safety? Do you need physical affection? Like, what is it that you need, and where can you bring your own energy in to provide that for yourself? And then the answers will come, but it's an inward process. No one can
Mhm.
tell you what choice to make. That it's your journey, it's your choice. We could only provide our own wisdom from our journeys and from the stars and the sky and the
Yeah.
cosmos.
If you guys have been following me for a while, I've always talked about like, like I was always uncomfortable, even though I have a Mars in Leo. So I have to grow to be comfortable being in the spotlight. But I was like, no, like people would be like, oh, goddess or queen. I'm like, no, like I am just on this journey with you. I'm in the rowboat, rowing along, paddling with you. Like, as I said, there is no twin flame expert. We're living it. Nobody's an expert on this shit. We're living it right now. We're going through it. And Tara and I are just here sharing our thoughts and our experiences and our insights and revelations with what we've experienced on this journey. And that's so important to share. I think it's so important that we know like in what we thought a year ago isn't what we're like thinking now, or what we thought to be true. Like those things were
Oh my
designed.
gosh, what I thought 3 days ago.
Right. Like I
I
got
had
so
a
much
quantum leap. Like seriously, it was insane.
I
So
got so much flack for like shifting my views on the journey. And I'm like, guys, we're not here to stay in one place. We're here to shift and change. I'm allowed to change my mind. You're allowed to change your mind. This is what being human is all about. This is how we grow and we learn and we expand. But everyone is at different stages, and that's okay. And that we need that. We need people to be at different stages. There's some people, and it's not about ahead or behind. It's just like you're here, you're here, you're here, you're here, and you're here. And that's it. And we're all placeholders. We're all, doing the part that we are here to do at this point in time. And when you're ready, you'll shift places. Like, look at it that way. But for someone who's like, well, I'm still connected to, that individual, that's great. That's where you need to be right now. Perhaps there's more lessons to learn, or perhaps you will end up with that person. I don't know. I don't know how this all ends. Nobody does. All we know is that we can tune into our own hearts and listen in what is true and real for you. And I'll tell you something. When I pulled back the first time, when I really pulled back from the twin, the counterpart, it was so fucking painful. Like my heart was shattered, but I felt whole at the same time because I was choosing myself for the very first time in my entire life. I chose me. And I had never done that before with a partner. I had never chosen myself. And I chose me. And I was like, holy shit. That's the most empowered that I'd ever felt up to that point. So choose yourself, and not just in that situation, in any situation. If you're asking for a raise, choose yourself. Go in, demand that raise. This is what I'm worth. If it has to do with, putting your parents in their place. Chris is here. There's Chris. Okay, Chris, I was talking about you earlier, and I've been meaning to get back to you, and I have not forgotten to send you your email. I wanted to be able to sit down and actually really spend time replying. But what I shared was that, Chris, without even physically meeting the counterpart, I believe you said, you've come into a place of inner union. And I felt like that was so incredibly powerful. Like you just reached this epiphany in this place of like, hey, it's me, it's here, it's within me. And that's what we've been talking about. So Chris is
amazing.
amazing. Chris is one of my moderators, and you have, questions or you just need to be uplifted. Chris has been here, and Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible to hear that. So I'm so happy for you and the place that you're in and the peace that you found on this journey. Sometimes it takes people decades to get to that place. So
Yeah.
but let's not make it decades. Like, let's do it. Let's do it together. Let's create a ripple effect of shift and change and joy and peace and love. And with the full support of the moon, and it might already be, Monday for some people. It's Sunday here, but it might be Monday depending on who's watching and where you're watching. But bask under the light of that full moon. It's powerful for the next 2 days or so. And then, the energy carries over for the next 6 months. So
Yeah.
17 years. That's great. Time is just like this one big grand giant illusion anyway. Like, we're here, we've arrived. This is a timeline. It's all coming together. And yeah, just enjoy the energy, guys.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on, Tara. And thank you to everyone who joined. And for anyone watching the replay, thank you so much. Would you guys like more of these? Would you guys enjoy more of these lives talking about the energy and the events of the year and the moons and all of that? Let us know. Hi, Anthony. Yes, please. Yes. That's how I interpret that. Yes. Ooh, moon painting. That's awesome.
Oh, that's nice.
Ooh, if you email it to me, Ritu, if you email that to me, I can share it. Let me know who to credit. Give me your name, but I can share it on my page. So my email is theenergeticrebel@gmail.com. Vicariously me. Hey, Serena.
And if people want to find me, you could find me on Instagram. I'm not active much on YouTube yet, but I guess I will be starting more videos soon. So
it's always fun to do a live with somebody because there's two different energies. And I think it's funny how you're wearing black and I'm wearing white. Like, we didn't plan that, but we're capturing, the light, not the light in the dark, but like the contrast.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic, guys. So maybe we'll see you then for the Pisces new moon in a couple weeks. But until then, have a beautiful day. And if any questions arise, you can email me. You can leave the comments below if you're watching the replay, and we will answer those. And that's it, guys. Sending out lots of love.
Bye.
Take care, guys.